Alright. The new update for RMFix2 is here, and it's already available in the bundle and in the RMFix2. And I made it for these guys, but I didn't make it for these guys because these guys never wrote me anything, never asked for the refund, so you are not allowed to use this update, okay? Use the old version. Okay, enough with the introduction. Let's just jump to the tutorial real quick, and I'm gonna show you all the new options. The update is really huge, and I could easily make the separate plugin out of this, but I decided not to be cheap, guys, and be loyal, and just give it all for free for the ones who already own it. And the newcomers, you guys should probably hurry up because I'll be increasing the price next week, so just a little bit, not much. Alright, so this is a 5.7 layout. We also have 5.6 and 5.5 updated, but next updates will be coming only to a newest version because this is just too much work. Alright, so as you see, we have a dockable windows now. You can rearrange them and you can resize the windows to your liking, and RMFix2 will remember these settings next time you start it. Okay, next we can see that we have a skeleton tree now. We also have asset details, and you can change the mesh here. You can set the root motion on and off, and I would recommend deselect the root lock and the root motion. You can leave the root motion on, but for the root lock, when you will be working on RMFix2, it might give you some offsets and kind of confuse you a little bit, so I would recommend to deselect those. Okay, next you can see that Spline Editor is enabled by default here, so it will resemble everything that's going on with the root. It shows the root track right now. Okay, so let's go from the top to bottom. On the very top we have bone setup, where you set the global bones for the root bone and the pelvis bone in case you have some kind of custom skeleton. RMFix tool will pick those bones automatically if you're using Unreal Mannequin, so it's just for the custom skeleton. If you set those bones, it will remember it next time, and it will also put those bones in the list right away, so you don't have to select them in some cases like here or here. This is made for a really fast workflow. So the logo here is just a link to the store. Next we have a create root motion transfer. It's the same thing as the transfer before, I just renamed it and moved it up. Also I added this root to world 0. When your pelvis does not start from the world 0, when you transfer, your root will have an offset, and you would need to go and clear the offset before, but right now it just does it in one setting. Next one is the rotation. So before also the calculations were not making a really good outcome in some animations, resulting in sliding. Right now there is no problem with the rotation transfer. So also you see the red arrow that will represent your rotation. Yeah, right now obviously it's not correct, but we'll fix it. So okay, the next one is snap IK bones. This is the skeleton default one. Before it was snapping to the default ref pose of the skeleton, so as you see with this mesh it doesn't, and we added this preview mesh option, so basically it snaps to the preview mesh, and you can change the meshes here. As you see, to snap you click the analyze IK pairs and it will snap it automatically. Okay, so the next one, let me change back this guy, is the direction change. The same as before, but also you will see how it changes on the Spline Editor. And we improved the interpolation function. Right now automatically calculates much better. Well, before, interpolation function wasn't calculating automatically. You had to manually set up the intervals here. You can also do that right now, but it's more complicated, the workflow. I would need to make a separate tutorial for this because it's going to take a long time. But right now it does pretty good job with the automatic interpolation. Well, this animation kind of turns a lot, so you might see, oh, actually this is because I created the manual ones. But you see the automatic one does a lot much better in this type of animations. Also, for example, if you have an animation like this, like just straight walking forward, you can use the interpolation to turn the animation. So as you see, feet are not sliding, and it does a pretty good job now, and it's really easy to use. So you can play with the balance and with the custom angle. I also recommend only opening one instance of RMFX tool just to save you computing power. Couple is fine too. Okay, so next one is remove root motion. As you remember, before it was on top. I just moved it here, and also I added one more feature. Before it was only make in place, but now if you want to keep your animation, just clear out the root. That's the option. It's pretty much the same thing as the transfer if you do the vice versa, but I just want to make really easy workflow for you guys, so that's why I just put it here. Next option is the root cleanup. So if you have an 0 frame offset, which obviously this animation doesn't, automatically it selects the root because you selected it here. Next one is the clear 0 frame rotation. If you have a rotation in the beginning of the animation which you want to clear. Next one is the completely clearing out the rotation. As you see, if we just want to remove the rotation, so we can use this option. It's the same as this option, but I just put it here for the fast workflow. And next one is add offset. As before, if you want to offset your root or the pelvis, you can use this option. Okay, so next is the feature that really makes this update huge. It's a manual root motion. First of all, let's clear the root motion that we already have, and now we can activate the manual root motion, and you see the timeline of the manual root motion here. There's also this automatic analyze buttons, but I will just show it to you a little bit later. Also, before I move on, I just want to mention that the top features besides manual root motion and spline editor could be applied to multiple animations at once. All you need to do is just select multiple animations, and the first one you selected will be showing in the preview, but all the changes that you make here will be applied to all to other animations also. I will also recommend you guys to watch until the end, because I will be showing my workflow, the one that I picked for myself as the fastest one. So yeah, okay, let's move on with the manual root motion. Basically, what manual root motion lets you do is manually create the root, because when we create automatically, you see how it resembles the pelvis movement and it's all wobbly, and we actually just want like straight lines for the root. We don't want this for the root motion. Is not really good. So you can use the manual one just to draw your root motion basically. So the process, how it works, you look where to create an interval, and by pressing a middle mouse wheel, you create like place the separator and you just drag your root where it needs to go. As you see, yeah, because it's jumping, so now it stops moving, and then I create one right before it starts moving, and then when it stops moving again. So this workflow is a little bit slower than automatically creating one, but it gives you like really nice straight lines. But you can also achieve this different ways. And right now all the intervals are interpolated. You can also disable interpolation, but then your root will jump like this. And let's say you want your root to move a little bit slower in some intervals. If it doesn't move with the animation, so you can adjust this movement by selecting a different curves. Like this one a little bit goes too fast. Yeah, I actually made it worse, but I really like these animation curves actually. You can use different ones. Yeah, so something like that. So let's say you are happy with the location, and I just want to mention that first always do the location, then do the rotation. Don't do them simultaneously. Well, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it because the rotation intervals might be different in different places. So right now we can add a rotation. So it goes forward, not rotating up till this point, then rotates like this. So let's say I want to add rotation to the root, so my character faces this way now. Now I add one more just before the rotation and next one after it finishes. The manual rotation, for the rotation I always use the manual because it's much better approach than automatic one. Automatic just creates the wobbly pelvis movement, and that's not what you want. A rotation just needs to be really smooth. So let's say in this interval kind of rotates slower, so I can choose a different curve also. So this root motion is almost perfect, I would say. We just need to snap the bones now. And now it's all good to go. Hey, what's going on? All right. Okay, now I'm gonna show you how to work with this analyze buttons. Let's clear out the root motion first. You can use the location analyze, but I wouldn't recommend the rotation analyze. It's just not that good. But for the location, also you see it didn't create a separator here, which would be proper. Almost as manual, just sometimes makes the workflow faster. You can also drag the separators. Something like that. actually out of the way. So you get the idea. It just places the separators for you, and then you can manipulate them. And before you move on to rotation, make sure you apply the location. And if you don't like what you did here, you can always uncheck the manual root motion and you will have a fresh start. So next, let's take a look at the Spline Editor. Let's create a root motion real quick, and I'm gonna show you the best workflow that I have. Usually I use manual root motion only for rotation, but for the location I just use the regular automatic transfer, and then in the Spline Editor I can either select all the frames, or usually sometimes I just go like select the interval and max out the smoothing and just smooth those intervals. You can shift select the keyframes. You can zoom in a little bit. Now you see you have really smooth root motion for the location. Now when you're happy with this, I usually just go and create the rotation manually. It's really easy. So you get the idea. But also you can use this smoothing for the rotation and all that, but you can experiment. Also there is a lineup feature that is pretty useful, but lineup sometimes if you use it really drastically, it can play with your time. You see the root is kind of faster, it's not under the pelvis, so you can also use these curves to play with the timeline of the lineup, so it kind of changes the behavior of how it moves depending on the curve. So you feel free to experiment. This feature is not really usable, and this is clear rotation and trust. Also you can drag the points here. You can shift select them, drag them like this, then for example smooth them like this, or you can rotate them. So yeah, there is a lot of stuff you can do, but the fastest workflow that I got, I showed you. Also, if you didn't like anything you did in the Spline Editor before you apply, you can always go back to previous state. Just remember that. What next? I think I covered pretty much everything, so I will be probably making the smaller tutorials. But yeah, if you guys like it, please go ahead and write your feedbacks, and I would really appreciate it. So wish you a good day. Bye bye.